What a beautiful moment this is. It's a lot better than the last time I stood on a stage, blinded like a deer in headlights. I had just shredded the I Have a Dream speech. I stripped it of all its content, omitting everything from the Red Hills of Georgia to Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. I couldn't believe what was happening because I knew that speech backward and forward. But I'd only rehearsed it in my mind. Looking back, I know that I hadn't come to the stage to honor Dr. King. I hadn't come to impress you, the audience. I had come seeking the glory it would bring me. The cheers and the applause, all those surrogates I was seeking for my low self-esteem. But instead, you were there, and I was blinded by your probing eyes. Back in my body, I awoke after the second, free at last. You can only imagine the fucking conversation that's going through my head. What I remember next was a series of moments strung over decades. Moments designed to cover my secret shame. That night, it was the stench of Boone's farm underneath the pier, and some random girl's thick tongue awkwardly probing my mouth. Later, it was spiked apple cider, AOL chat rooms, and late night hookups disguised as evening study sessions. I hid my shame for 30 years. 30 years of feeding the need to please, binging on the drugs of assiduous over-preparation, alternating with obsessive self-sabotage. And yes, mixed with more than my fair share of booze-fueled sexcapades. That is until she arrived, my baby girl, just when I was working up the nerve to come out of the closet. What I'm saying is that I was literally about to come out of the shower, and there's her mother's hand with the fucking positive pregnancy test in it. I mean, you just can't make this shit up. So yeah, she stopped me from coming out that night, and later, on another night, she stopped me again. I lay there shivering on that bathroom floor, having indulged in too much of a good thing. And all I could think was, what would she do if I died here alone? What would she do? So I dragged my ass to a meeting. Hi, my name is Dwayne, and I'm... So yeah, that was a powerful moment, and the moment that was my free at last moment. That was a moment that I recognized that though Michaela had been saving my life, her whole life, there was still one redeeming conversation that I had to have all on my own. So I went home to that country town with just one flashing red light. home to the house that I practically grew up in. Same house that he built with his own two hands. And there he was, sitting in his recliner, same spot where, if he wasn't watching Archie Bunker, George and Wheezy, or some of those crooks like Jim and Tammy, he was sharing lessons on the faith of Abraham, and he was speaking on leading with love. So we sat there, him in his recliner and me on the edge of the bed. Same bed where some years later, he eventually died. And I made my confession. Granddaddy, I'm gay. And I drank for years because I thought you were ashamed of me. I drank because I was ashamed of me. And because I'm still recovering, I know that I'll drink again if I had let you die before hearing me say these words. And so we sat there. It was just a second, but it felt like hours. But it was just one pregnant, long overdue second. And then I thought his soft gaze, surrounded by his oh so familiar smile. And I heard it. Not quite a whisper, but gentle, like butterfly kisses. His near, soundless mic drop. Dwayne, my number one grand, he said. You must be true to yourself. These words of love, they freed me from the cage of my fears and chased away the voices that were plaguing my head. I instantly started dropping those rocks of secret shame, and looking back on it, I can see that it was there all along. Reflected in his eyes was the soft strength of untold, silenced generations. They were the authors of his lessons of love. They were my priests. They were my confessors. And he had delivered their message to me. And now, instead of the rocks, I carry the message. And there are no difficult conversations. Granddaddy, because of your liberating words of love, I'm free. I'm free at last. Thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. Thank you.